Rapist. In 3, 2, 1, action. Hi everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Tigers, the podcast. This is episode number 3, and we have such a brilliant guest today. Everyone's favorite guest, the co-founder, original gangster, Daniel Butler.
Hey.
Okay, Dad. Okay, Dan.
Okay. I'm also the father of her children.
Yes, okay. Today we're going to be doing an interview with Daniel. We've got some funny questions that we got from ChatGPT, but also we're going to ask him some personal questions now so we can all get to know him. We know a lot about Daniel because we see him on social media all the time.
I love social media.
He loves
for the
social
gram.
media, anything for the gram. So we're just going to ask him some questions, and it's also amazing because Dan is the original founder. Obviously, I helped him as we went along a lot. But the original part of the idea came from Dan, and I think you should introduce yourself and how Tigers, our lessons, how we started. Let's go with that.
Okay, I'm Daniel Butler. I'm the co-founder of Tumbling Tigerz.
Yeah, but not too scripted. More.
Okay, not too scripted. Okay.
Hi, Daniel.
And I was actually on track to start fighting at EFC or fighting for EFC. And I was in the gym the one day and I was hitting the bag, and the owner of the gym came to me with 2 young boys and said to me, Dan, you've worked with children before. Could you have a run around with these 2 boys? Their trainer hasn't arrived for their lesson. And from there, I basically made stuff up.
He wrote me to come on. He was like, can you please come help me? And I was like, oh, on a Friday afternoon. I'm joking.
And what I did is I made stuff up on the spot from my exercise background, from my training background. And the boys really enjoyed it. We were doing roly-polies, we were hitting the bag, we were
monkey
doing
walking,
burpees, a little bit of wrestling. And from there, the parents absolutely loved it. So then they referred other parents to us, and 2 became 4, became 8, became 12.
Within 3 months, we had 60 children in the afternoon, back-to-back sessions.
Yeah. And then I started working at a special needs center. A friend of mine was dating the manager of the special needs center, and she asked if I could come and do some activities with the special needs children. And from there, I saw the different methods that the therapists were using with the children, crossing the midline, bilateral integration, all these specialized aspects with these kids. And originally we called it Tiny Tumbles, and the parents said to us that sounds a little bit too babyish.
Also, I made the logo on Microsoft Word using clip art.
Yeah, so Shani and I, on one car ride, we came up with the name, we came up with the war cry, we came up with what aspects we were going to input. And
yeah,
from
Tumbling
there,
Tigerz.
Tumbling Tigerz was born, and we started making the programs a lot more structured. I started using my experience working with the special needs children to beef up the program a little bit more, to make it more structured and more valuable to the children.
At that time, I think I just completed my group fitness.
Yeah, group fitness, personal training.
And then you did a kids development.
I did a child development course through HFPA. And from there, Tigers was born, and we saved up our first 12,500 Rand, and we bought our first equipment, we bought our first flyers, and we started approaching schools. And from there, the first school that we signed up was the Willows in Bordeaux, and we actually have a bottle of wine that we put letters on saying first school, and that has come with us for the last 13 years, and it's still with us to this day. So,
I better find it.
Yeah, it's still around, I'm pretty sure. And then Tigers was born, and from there we got into more schools. We bumped our heads a lot of times.
We did, and what we call it school fees. So, for example, with our first 12,000 Rand, we used to work as a bartenders, and that's how we made all our money. So we never took a loan to start Tigers. So we went to this store and we were like, no, we need to buy bags. So we wanted to carry around the medicine balls plus all the equipment.
The equipment. Those bags are like 40 kilograms.
Yeah, so the bag was expensive itself, and it had like a metal rod in. I swear it was 2 weeks in.
2 weeks, those bags broke.
We're done for 2 weeks. Those bags had been torn to shreds. There was a wire or a metal rod keeping for support, was snapped in half. We tried to take the bags back and be like, hello, can you please return them? Because we're so young and naive. But and
we started the whole business on a BlackBerry, because a BlackBerry was a phone that could send emails. So we had one BlackBerry cherry berry between us, and we'd send out mails to different schools.
We also only had one car, and that was for about 6 years.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'd have to walk to a lesson, or Dad would drop me off, and then I'd have to wait outside the school for like an hour to be picked up by Dad.
Yeah.
And then he'd come pick me up, and we'd do that We worked really well together.
And now Tigerz has grown. We're just over 8,000 children. We've got franchises
We are
around
35
the country.
employees working for head office itself. And we've got 15 running active franchises over South Africa. So,
No.
Okay, Dad, I got a question for you. If you were not doing Tumbling Tigerz, what do you think you'd be doing with your life?
Male stripper. No, I'd probably be...
You'd be homeless. No, I'm joking. Without me, you'd be homeless.
Homeless. No, I don't know what I'd do with that. I'd probably be a personal trainer.
Yeah, I think I'd probably be like a secretary, like an admin secretary.
No. Or I could be fighting in the UFC. I could have been there before Drickers. Just joking, Drickers.
Yeah, don't find me.
Just joking.
Okay, audience, what question do you guys have a question for Dan?
What's your number?
What do you think is the biggest impact Tumbling Tigerz has had on your life?
On my life and other people's lives. So where Tumbling Tigerz really became special is when we had these young coaches that would work for us, and they would become familiar with the business, and from there new opportunities would open up, new responsibilities, and they would actually create a life for themselves. And this is one of the only businesses where you as a coach, if you want to make more money, you can make more money, and we can tell you exactly how.
Exactly. There's a lot of room to grow in Tigerz. Yeah. And I want to just jump in here. I know it's your question, but I have seen you love to empower young people by giving them a lot of information. And I often see some kids don't take in the information and they don't last within Tigerz. And then there are other coaches who love to listen to you and absorb everything you say. And if I can use Alex Benitez as a good example, he's been with us for over 10 years. He started as a coach. He moved up as an area manager. He used to come once a month to sit on our patio when we used to not have kids, have a beer or two, and just ask questions about the business and how to grow schools and how to be a human being on the ground and building up numbers for Tumbling Tigerz. And now he's pretty much our most successful franchisee. He already has 2 areas and going on to a 3rd. Yeah. So it just shows you that Dan does have powerful wealth of information. And if you sit and listen to him and absorb it and take it in, you can get far, even if it's not as a coach.
Yeah. Well, the stuff that I'm telling you about is real. It's in practice right now in the industry that you're in. The problem is, like with Instagram and stuff, too many people are watching these reels with these successful people giving you successful business advice, but it's not relevant to the space that you're in. It's not relevant. And the more that you watch those videos, the more that these young people feel that it's out of their grasp. Whereas over here, the information I'm giving you is right now, right here. Get me numbers for schools. We'll phone the schools. We'll arrange a meeting. We'll set up the demo. We'll sign up the school, and you can start earning and benefiting from that school immediately. And it's just the case of you staying proactive and going to get the things and doing the things that I'm telling you to do.
Yeah.
And from there, the proof is in the pudding. It's happened over and over and over again. And we have multiple employees that earn a very healthy living. Some of them earn more than their parents do. So that's what I think the biggest impact that we've made.
Exactly. And that's also one of the best things that I love to say. People often ask, are you guys sports coaches? Is this your profession? And the best thing is, yes, we are. We made a career. We work for ourselves and we work really hard. And yes, we are sports coaches as our profession, and it's paying off.
Yes, we've done it very well. If you're an Apple salesman, be the best Apple salesman. And that way you can make a proper living. If you're going to be mediocre or lazy or procrastinate, that doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're not going to do well. Yeah. Next question.
Okay, so now we're going to swap on over to ChatGPT. We asked about funny questions for the Tumbling Tigerz South Africa CEO. So let's answer these. This is going to be fun. Okay, Dan, this is a good one. If your employees were all animals, what animals would they be and why? And if you say tigers, you're getting a backhand.
Well, I think each employee would be slightly different. I think, like Gio, I think you're like a mongoose.
Sleek.
Maybe William, like a Black Panther.
Chad?
Chad is like a...
He's really good at this game, though. I'm not going to lie to you.
Chad's like a leopard.
A leopard?
Yeah. He's quite solitary. he's honorable. He's not a scavenger. He's not something that picks off other people's success.
Do you see how good he is at doing this? This is the best game ever.
Naki would be. He's my pug. He's my he's my little pug. He's kooky. He's always up for a good time. Yeah, his eyes are messed up.
What would me as an animal be?
Yeah, it's like a bird of some sort. No, I'm joking. You would be more like a lemur, like very agile and observant, and
I do only eat fruit.
Yeah, and you carry your babies on your back or tummy.
Okay, I think that suits pretty well. Yeah. Dan, I think if I had to pick an animal for you...
Merrick would be a fusa. The fusa.
Okay, I know what animal you'd be. Silverback gorilla. Rip someone's body apart. You know why silverback gorilla? Because they're very thoughtful in their presence. They dominate their space. They are not aggressive until provoked. And I feel like that is how you are. You always give people the benefit of the doubt. You always believe in someone. And then when they piss you off, that's when you like, okay, it's good. I'm going to protect my tribe. And it's like, pretty accurate.
Thank you.
Okay, question number 2. If your company had a theme song, not the war cry, what would it be and why? I think I know what it would be. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, question number 3. If Tumbling Tigerz was a superhero, what would its superhero power be?
I think it would be probably we make the children laugh to death.
But it doesn't have to be to death. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's a villain. Sorry.
Okay, what would it be? I think it would be...
Would be that we can...
I think capture someone's attention. Like, you know, like a giant megaphone.
No, I think we can absorb the powers of anything that we do. So if you smash a medicine ball, now you've got the smashing superpower. If you've got the, I think, transformative superpower.
Okay,
so you can monkey walk, you can...
Do you see how his brain works?
You can roly-poly, you can...
That's insane. It's insane. Okay, number 4. Swap jobs with any employee for the day. Who would it be and why?
Fortune. Who does nothing. Fortune is our gardener.
If Tumbling Tigerz was a food dish, what would it taste like?
Spicy. Spicy habanero poppers.
With oozy hot cheese.
Yes.
Just everything burns.
With habanero cheese.
Why?
Oh no, it's spicy. It's got flavor and character. It's not rice.
If I was a food, I think I would be rice.
Or curry.
Oh my gosh.
Also because it's from India and that's where tigers are from.
That is pretty true. If your office was suddenly transported to a deserted island, who would thrive and who would struggle?
Nucky would be the first one to die.
Okay,
I think Phil would thrive. I think he lives in Edenvale. Like, that's basically a deserted island.
7. If your company was in a talent show, what unique talent would it showcase?
Physical ability?
Done.
Yeah. Duh.
Question number 8. If Tumbling Tigerz was a movie, what genre would it be and who would play the lead role?
Action. Me.
I was going to say kids. Me. We'll have 2 different ones.
An animated movie. Animated
action movie.
Why aren't we watching this?
Instead, you're watching a podcast. Question number 9. If you had to rename the company based on a dessert, what would it be called?
The chocolate mousse.
I don't know why I found that so funny. It was the way he answered
because it's still an animal, technically.
That is actually brilliant. Like a moose with,
Yes.
not like chocolate
Antler moose, not fluffy moose.
Good question for you. In the next 5 years, where do you see Tumbling Tigerz going?
Okay, well, this is a serious one. I foresee Tumbling Tigerz becoming the benchmark of child development programs and extramurals, not only in this country, but hopefully globally, where the standards that we train our coaches to, the systems that we implement to benefit the children, to be safe with the children, to give the coaches resource and opportunity to grow, we need to be the benchmark where any other extramural will have to follow our standards to be approved as an extramural, because many of these extramurals start out of necessity. They don't start out of passion. It's someone that's looking for a job. They used to work with children, or maybe they played sports at some sort of level and now they want to make money out of it. And they don't often take the correct steps to build their business properly, to make sure that the children are safe and benefiting from the program, that the children are receiving.
So, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying, like, like a HFPA. It's like a place where you go and study.
Yeah.
You're saying basically we're going to set the requirements that a extramural must.
If an extramural wants to operate, their coaches need to have police clearance, sexual offenders clearance, first aid. They need to have a curriculum of their program. They need to have a training schedule of how they get their coaches from interview all the way through to being a competent coach. And once they have all of those and they can submit them to us, we can review them and say, yes, you do actually have a plan with what you're trying to do, and we will stamp you off. And yearly, we will have to review their programs, and they'd have to bring in that they have actually been qualifying their employees, that their employees do have their police clearances and things like that, to make sure that any extramural with any offering has a structure behind it. Because you're working with other people's children, you have to be safe, you have to be professional. The children and the parents need to benefit from your service.
And there's also like a trust relationship as well. If you saying, I'm going to do an extramural and there's no curriculum, what are you actually doing with them all day long?
You're arriving at the lesson and making it up on the spot. And this is dangerous and not particularly beneficial. And that's the problem with many of these startup extramurals, is that they don't know what they're doing. They have great intentions, but they don't know exactly what to do. And they end up giving poor service to a school or parents. And the parents or the school view all extramurals in one pot. And they start to say, we don't want extramurals. We don't want other activities because we've only had bad experiences. And by us becoming almost the governing body of this industry, it will produce better programs that are offered to the children, safer, beneficial, everything like that, so that the children benefit, and these programs can actually be at a standard. They can't just buy a bag of soccer balls, arrive at a school, and tell you that they're going to charge you. They send you an amount over WhatsApp, and you pay that. There's no indemnities, there's no training, there's no curriculum.
There's no invoicing.
There's no invoicing, and there's a lack of service to the parents and to the children. And we want to stop that from happening. We want the extramurals that exist to all be excellent and to be resourced well, and their coaches well trained. And this is my vision for Tigerz.
But this is again how your mind works. You don't mind giving people information. That's one thing about you. A lot of people are like, secrecy. Don't tell anything about the business. Daniel, when he first got his first salary, he told all his friends how much he got. Like, that's not heard of. Everybody teaches you. Keep information to yourself, because information is power. Daniel is not like that. He wants to help people. He wants to give that information to people so that everyone can be a great extramural. I think that's admirable. I think that's really amazing.
I think too many people have hid their secrets for too long. And when you have someone that's younger or less experienced, why not get them just to their next level? And from there, they can start to grow and become something more.
I agree with that.
And there's lots of levels to this stuff. You can't be advising a 19-year-old on how to be a CEO, because none of the information that you're giving him is going to be relevant. But if you say, this is how you save, this is what you should be spending your money on.
Be on time when you're going to work, because this person's going to get a first job. Be loyal.
No.
Don't be a
professional, how to be likable. These are all things that young people can benefit from. They don't need to know the information up at the CEO level. They need to know what is their next step. And handing out that information is only going to benefit them, and they'll appreciate you for it.
100%. I love that. High five.
Yeah.
I've got one more question.
Yeah.
What's it like working with your wife on a daily basis?
This interview is over.
No, seriously. Like, we started the company together,
Yeah.
and obviously there's a lot of, we argue a lot because I have a vision, but Dan does steer the ship. He's the director. Like, you take us where you need to go.
Yes.
I am sometimes the handbrake. Daniel has a bit of a spending problem.
I've got a shopping addiction for Tumbling Tigerz. If Shani let me, I would spend all the money that we have on Tumbling Tigerz.
And I do let him spend a lot of it, but also we have to pay bills.
But I saw some cool new equipment. Let me buy it.
But seriously,
Yeah.
come on to the people.
Well,
Tell the people.
Shani and I have been together for 17 years. We've been married for 9. And when we started the business together, we both worked very well together. We still work very well together. We just have to be sure not to take any office arguments back into the house. Shani usually wins them by force. No, but it's fantastic working with someone that you can trust completely. And that's the value in working with your wife. Separating duties so that you don't get in each other's way or stand on each other's toes, to make sure that you need your stuff to be done and I need my stuff to be done, and together that complements each other.
Does. Truly
Ta-da.
does. Ta-da! Yeah. Wait, I have to say about. Thank you so much for joining us, watching our podcast. I know no one's going to comment for him to do a challenge, but if you want him to do something, put it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you back in 2 weeks' time. Thanks, Dan, for coming on our show today.